Welcome to today's PSHE lesson. And today we continue in our series on financial education. And today we particularly look a little bit in the future. Well, a long way in the future, to be honest. We look at pensions and future finance. I wonder if you know what that's all about, but I hope by the end of the session you will understand how a pension works and how to manage your money for the future. Now, let's just take a moment and think about your future. I wonder where you see yourself when you are 21. Maybe you've got a journal, or maybe you've just got a scrap of paper, or maybe on your computer. What is your goal? Where do you see yourself when you are 21? Are you in university? Are you doing an apprenticeship? Are you starting your own business? What is your dream? Now let's move forward. Let's move forward to when you are 41. On your piece of paper, on your screen, I want you to think about what would you like to have achieved by the time you are 41. Imagine you were writing a letter to yourself. What would you have liked to have achieved by that time? Restart the video when you're ready to go. Now this is even further in the future. Where do you see yourself when you are 61? What would you have liked to have achieved in that time? And finally, there might still be many years after this. What about when you're 81? By then you would have definitely retired. Would you have traveled? What would you have done after you've finished a wonderful life of work? Wouldn't it be amazing if you kept that piece of paper and looked back at years to come to see how many of those dreams have you fulfilled? Have you perhaps come up with new dreams and ideas? It's good to write things down. It's good to think of the end in mind. Now, in a moment, I want you to pause this video and go onto this YouTube link where an amazing man is talking about a section in a book by a guy called Stephen Covey in his very, very famous book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Let's see what he says about a good philosophy, starting with the end in mind. When you're ready, come back to this video. So, although it might seem bizarre talking about pensions, I know I certainly didn't think about that when I was at school, thinking about the end in mind is a really sensible thing to do, and highly effective people do this, so that's why we're doing this now. So how can you plan for your retirement? What do you already know about planning for your retirement? Have a think. What do you want to be doing when you retire? Do you want to be traveling? Do you want to have paid off your own house? What might you need and want to pay for? You might have some great ideas, but are you going to be able to afford that? So the first thing we should do when we're planning for our retirement is doing a bit of saving. And I know that this sounds quite bizarre because we'd be saving for a car, we'd be saving for a house, but it's really important to save for our retirement too. So saving a regular amount each month is a great way to let your savings mount up and to help you cover unexpected costs like emergency repairs. Think about how much you would have if you saved £20 a month from now until retirement age. Now, currently, retirement age is 65. I know they're talking about 67. who knows what it will be by the time you retire, thanks to all the advances in medicine. If you put money into a savings account, you always get back the amount you put in, as well as extra money, which we call interest. The amount of interest differs from account to account, and that's why last time we were talking about different accounts and doing your homework with them. Now, planning for your retirement. So, for example, we were talking about if you put £5,000 into an account paying 2% interest, you would earn £100 in 1 year, with the amount you earned rising slightly each following year as your savings grew. Some accounts let you take out some or all of the money at any time without paying a fee. With others, you agree to leave the money in the account for a period of time, could be for a year, for 2 years, or 5 years. So do speak to your bank. You can invest money in a variety of ways. For example, you could buy shares on the stock exchange. You could buy a property, or you could start a business. Investing is different to saving, as you don't know whether you'll get the amount that you invested back. Investments can go down in value as well as up, so they involve a risk. And you always need to make a calculated, wise risk. Over a long period of time, invested money tends to create more extra money. We call that a return than interest offered on savings accounts. Now, you might have heard people talking about a state pension. State pension is paid by the government when a person reaches state pension age, which is official retirement age. For anyone born after 1978, retirement age is likely to be 68, but it's increasing as people live longer. As you've heard, these numbers keep changing. To get a full state pension, you need to have worked and paid national insurance contributions to the government for a certain number of years. You can still get a state pension if you haven't been able to work. For example, if you haven't been able to find a job, or you've had illness or disability, or you've been caring for someone. You get state pension even if you receive another type of income, for example, a workplace pension or a personal pension. The government sometimes changes the rules about who gets a state pension, how much and at what age, so it's best not to rely on receiving one when you retire. A workplace pension is offered by employers to the people who work for them. Usually, workers agree to put a percentage of their monthly earnings into their pension, and the employer also puts some money into it. So, for example, part of my salary gets put into a pension pot, and the school or the government, because I'm a worker of the state, will also put some money into a pension pot. That is a workplace pension. Over the next few years, the government is making all employers put workers on a pension scheme automatically. That's called auto-enrollment, because in the past, some people weren't placed onto this. When the worker retires, they can choose to get all of their pension back or to get it bit by bit over a longer period of time. A personal pension, sometimes called a private pension, is a pension that you arrange yourself. usually with a financial advisor at a bank or other financial business. Personal pensions can be used in addition to a workplace pension to provide a greater income on retirement, and are especially used for people such as self-employed who do not have workplace pensions. Sometimes people call this a top-up pension. The extra money made by a personal pension is usually tax-free, which means you don't have to give a percentage to the government while the money builds up, although some of the money is taxed when you receive it. Unlike savings account, you can't get hold of any of the money you put into a personal pension until you reach the age of 55, although you can get it earlier if you have permanent ill health. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of each way to plan for retirement? So think about if you just relied on a state pension. What if you didn't top up your employer pension? Now, here's a little task for you. Imagine you're a financial advisor. Use what you've learned to come up with a plan to help these young people have enough money in retirement. Look at each of the situations, pause the screen, and think what you would say to each person as their financial advisor. Now, this next video by Steph McGovern just sums this up absolutely beautifully. So please pause this, play the video, and then return to this video. I love the way Steph puts it across. Now, finally, let us end in prayer. Your class ambassador can read this, or if you're at home, you can pray this quietly to yourself. Amen. And I pray too that you make wise choices for your future. Have a great day.